Here.
Commissioner Clementi,
Present.
Vice Chair Marecki, Chair Baker McCormick.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Great. All right. Next item.
Item B, Chairwoman's remarks.
So I just want to thank the chair for putting together this committee so that we can focus more on the youth of Wayne County and make the youth council bigger and better. This is our first official meeting. And I want to welcome some of our youth council members here today. And this is really all about you and making sure that you have the resources in Wayne County and you have a voice in Wayne County. So welcome. And also for the record, what we will do is look at having the application process open all year round so that anyone that is interested, you can provide them an application at any point, at any time. And then September will go through the applications for appointments and then start in October. So that way we're not trying to rush to do everything at one time. So I did get that feedback, and we can definitely work on changing how we do things in that sense. Oh, sure. Oh, I'm just under remarks. Yeah, I'm just, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that just so that everybody already know. Okay. All right, that was my remarks. And next item, please.
Item C, unfinished business. There is none listed. Moving to item D1 under new business, discussion on recruitment and appointment of the youth council members by commissioners.
So again, as far as recruitment and appointment, we've historically had, when we started the youth council was set up for each commissioner to have 2 members per district. And at any point that there was additional seats open so that we could make sure that we got the maximum number of youth, any commissioner could appoint to a different district if that seat is open. So that's historically how we've been doing it. And again, what I'd like to do is try to open up the process so that you'll have an application early on. And at any point you can start now recruiting and be ready to appoint in the fall. That was the discussion that I had. Any other comments? Yes, Chair Bell, go right ahead.
Thank you for acknowledging me, although I'm not on the committee. Put in my little 2 cents. So a couple of things. I think you just talked about it, the number of youth per commissioners, 2. So that gives us a maximum of 30 if everyone puts 2 people in. So that's great. The applications, I think what would be beneficial is that every commissioner have the applications probably starting as soon as possible, probably like May, so they can work on it during the summer and then the top of the school year. And then once the commissioners get those applications, that they get 10, they can go through them, and then when they have their 2, then forward their 2 to, I guess, you, so that you can have a list of those 2 people that they're going to have. Feedback that I got from kids in my district was about the essay. They thought that was a little cumbersome. And I think I probably would have had more responses had it just been maybe maybe information, of course, of who they are. They can write out any activities that they belong to, and then maybe have a yes and no. Are you civically engaged? Yes. What do you hope to have them at yes and no questions, maybe not a lot, 4 or 5, or, just, and as opposed to the essay. I think that would get more people involved in the process of wanting to apply. But that was one of the feedback that I got from the young people in my district. Getting it to the commissioners and the commissioners forwarded to you, and then you all haven't coming up with a timeline of what dates you should have all of that information back from each commission district, and then a timeline as to when you're going to start the program, like either a start date and end date. And as you meet throughout the year, the committee, you all can talk about the activities that you're going to have for the young people. But I think the important thing up front is to have those timelines as to the beginning and the end, and then the date that you want to have the names given to you.
Mhm.
So,
And usually, in most cases, we always provide that. It's, we open up the applications on August 15th
mhm.
through, I think, September 15th, or is it August 1st?
Yeah.
August 1st through September 15th.
So maybe we
15th.
can do it like as
So-
soon as possible, like right after the school year is over. They can get them to the commissioners, so they can
Right.
start getting them out to their
So,
districts.
yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier, is that we'll get the actual applications to everyone updated, because
Mhm.
usually we would update it in August.
Right.
Well,
Mhm.
in July, or sometime in July, and then give it to you in August. But we'll have them revised with the correct dates on it,
Mhm.
and we'll give them to you like next month. Or actually, I think Robert already worked on it, right? Yes or no? You don't have to speak. Yes, right. So he already has it, and we can get it to you probably next week.
Yeah, so let's
Okay.
probably maybe give it to the committee members so they
Yep.
can look at them and make,
Sure.
come to a consensus that it's okay, it looks good. And then after the committee looks at it and says this is good, then we can send them out to all the commissioners. Okay.
Yes, Commissioner Clemente.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mhm.
I made some notes, looking at the, application from last time. And I like the idea. I think maybe that was my suggestion, that we start getting this application sooner, because kids are getting out of school, and sometimes it's easier to meet with them before they leave school. And starting in October, I think, is a really good idea. That way we're not rushing, so we can see if we have applicants. I do have a question of, you said something about if a commissioner doesn't appoint, then it's open for other commissioners to appoint. So we're first going to go to the commissioners to have them look at sending out their applications themselves. And then that will be a secondary thing if they don't get anything. Because I know when we did it this year, in my local paper, it said to send it to you. And I was a bit confused because I thought that was my responsibility to be looking for. So I think we just need some clarification about how we're doing that. And I think that will help with the new application. And I would appreciate seeing it so that I can proofread it. It's always good to have extra set of eyes on. So thank you.
Definitely. So to your point, that is one of the reasons you made that suggestions that we move the date of the first meeting to October. It would give everybody time, which makes sense. And as far as the actual application dates, as far as the opening date or the starting date and the appointment part of it, it's always been open for you to appoint any person at any time. Some commissioners just chose not to for whatever reason. I'm not sure. But we can look at recommendations early. I mean, starting, like I said, starting now. Actually, in November, I was vetting additional candidates for next term. So at any point, you can look at who might be a good candidate for the next year. And as far as appointment, if a commissioner doesn't, for whatever reason, appoint, again, I'm not sure why they wouldn't appoint. But if they don't appoint, then it's just been open to others to appoint. Like, I think this time this last term, Colleen, you know, he had 2 appointees or maybe even 3, can't remember, but he recommended like 3. So there was other seats open, so it just made sense that we open it up to those students that want to be a part. So that's how that's how we've been doing it.
So
To that point,
Mhm.
to that point.
Go ahead.
I think in the ordinance, we would have to look at the ordinance, ordinance, resolution, whatever it is. That I think it says only 2 per district. I think so. If we're going to open it up to other people, we're going to have to change the resolution because the resolution specifically says it should only be 2 per district. And if that person doesn't appoint, then that's just 2 vacancies. We can't put other people for that commissioner. So it's just 2 people per district the way it's written right now.
Well, it's also written to say that if there is a opening, that if someone wants to appoint it, that they have an opportunity to fill that vacancy. It should be, yes.
Do we have
Yeah.
the resolution in front of us?
Through the chair, I do have it in front of me,
Mhm.
and based on the discussions from last year, my office was working on revisions based on some comments received, and that was one of the items that we were looking to clarify. Because currently it does say 2, each commissioner gets 2, but then if a commissioner decides not to participate, then it says that students from within or outside of the non-participating commissioner's district may be appointed by other commissioners to fill the
Right.
vacancies. And that was one of the things that commissioners had questions about. And I did draft some proposed language. I just wasn't prepared. I didn't realize we were having a meeting. But I can have those finalized and however you want to do it, we can get it distributed for comments and back to this body committee.
Right, so I think it's fair as it is right now. I don't think there needs to be any amendments because it's open for commissioners to appoint. And as the language said, please state the second part of that again very clearly. It's open for,
So if a commissioner doesn't participate, the
Mhm.
students from within or outside of the non-participating commissioner's district may be appointed by other commissioners to fill the vacancies. Again, that
okay,
was one of
so-
the comments, well. yeah.
what, no, that I just wanted to be clear on what it said. So I think that's very fair. And that's why we made it that way. So purposefully, so that we could open it up to any student that was interested without necessarily it having to go through a commissioner if they're not looking at appointing. For whatever reason, again, I'm not sure why a commissioner wouldn't. In fact, I've had a couple of members that reached out to a commissioner and didn't receive any response. So to that, if you want to change it, it's also going to allow a commissioner to not allow someone
Right.
rather than to allow it for any members of our community, any youth members. Yes, Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I disagree with that. I would like my youth commissioners to be appointed by me. I want all of my applications to come through my office, to be vetted by me. I feel like my youth council members are representing my district. I want to choose them. And I don't want another commissioner to be choosing students to represent me and my office and my district. So that's just how I feel about it. If I choose just to appoint one or, for some reason I get those applications, I don't feel like a student is a good fit for this program. That's my choice. And I don't think that another commissioner should override my choice. So those are my reasons for this. And I think that we definitely should amend the ordinance or the resolution. Thank you.
Right. Well, again, I disagree with that because it, for whatever reasons, commissioners can be very, sometimes individualized about why they're not doing what I believe would be right in allowing certain, let me just finish. But I understand what you're saying because I want to appoint my own, right? So I agree with that, that I should be able to appoint my own. So if you appoint your two, then you're good. There's not going to be another commissioner that can appoint to your district. If you've already appointed your two, I'm referring to districts where there are no appointees. So that's what I'm referring to. Mhm.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
May I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my point is, this is not your youth commission. This is all of the Wayne County Commission's youth commission. I should be able to decide who represents my district.
Mhm.
If the applicants that I get, if I decide there's only one that I like, that I want to represent, that's my choice. If there are none that I get that year, that's my choice. If there's two, great, I will put them on there. But I don't think that another commissioner should make that choice for me. It is they are my appointees. This is not anyone else's choice.
I get that.
Every single office should be able to appoint their own youth commissioners. Thank you.
And to that point,
Mhm.
like the Women's Commission,
Mhm.
if it's vacant, it's vacant, right?
Right.
Everybody gets
Mhm.
one choice. I mean, I'm just bringing that up as one of the other special.
So then if that's
we
the
have.
case, I probably should set it up more like the Women's Commission then and have it where I can appoint, I don't know, how many do you have? Like, you appoint
It's-
one, but there's others outside of your district, like 7
Yeah,
others?
there's.
So
like
maybe
5.
that would be the balance here, because what I see is that if the commissioners on these commissioners here, I know most of you always appoint, but there's others that don't.
And I think
And the
that's
whole,
okay.
the whole
I
reason,
think that's okay. if
it
they
is
don't.
okay,
Yeah.
but the whole reason that we set it up that way, and by the way, I formed the youth council from the bottom up. So if you feel like I feel like it's mine, it's probably because that's how I feel, because I started it from the bottom up. And to diminish it by not having members from all throughout Wayne County is not going to be the vision that I had when I formed it. And I know it is a commission-based program, and I have no problem with agreeing to disagree on some things, but I think the balance would be, yes, you can appoint your two or choose not to, but then I would like to see where I can appoint up to maybe 5 or 7 more in addition to the ones that I already do have, just like the Women's Council was set up. So that would to me would be the balance. Yeah.
So I think as to make it everyone wants to see our dynamic young people succeed, and we want to make sure that we're giving them a great experience, which is what you have done. But in that context, we still operate, and we are all very territorial about our districts, and that's just how we operate. Good, bad, or ugly. And because of that, we need to make sure that every commissioner's desires for their district is being held up and understood and respected. And I think the best way to do that is to allow that commissioner to choose someone solely. And if that commissioner decides they don't want to participate, that's solely on them.
Yeah.
And I think out of having 30, a maximum of 30, I think if it's even scaled down to 1, I'm just saying if only person, it's to 15, I think you still get a good number of young people who can have that great experience. We'll have, one, it's only going to be 1 or 2 out county and maybe 1 or 2 in the city of Detroit who don't participate. That still gives you a great cross-reference of the county. If one out-county person does it and one city person does it, you're still going to have representation from a good part of the county. So
Right.
that being said, I think some of the conversations from commissioners were that we wanted to strictly keep it to the appointment of that commissioner from that district. And then moving forward, then we could, and who we get is who we get. If we get 15, great. If we get 30, fantastic. But if we only get 15, that's good too. We're gonna
Or-
make the best program that we can. And that 15 is one per commission district, 'cause that's all anybody want to do. Or two from hers, one from mine, two from you, one for you. Whatever that number is the entitlement of that commissioner to decide and not anyone else. So I think when the resolution is going to be reworked, the body is going to kind of decide on how they want to see it reworked. I think you have things at the beginning and you learn along the way. You can tweak them along the way. So when we first came up with it, it was great with the language that we had, but now there's some changes and people are amenable to some changes and we just vote on it up or down, if it's brought to the
Okay.
body.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hear you. So I will say that again, if that's what you all want to see, that only, two appointees and it would be only from those commissioners, then that's fine. But the amendment to our corporate council, our commission council, but the amendment I would like to also have added is that it would open up for me to have, I don't know, set up exactly like the Women's Council is set up, where there's a more appointments for myself. So that's all I'm saying. Do you get what I'm saying?
I have some proposed amendments based on the prior discussion.
Mhm.
Every suggestion will be put in writing and you all can vote up or down however you choose. So yes, I will make sure I present that as well.
Great. And by the way, how is the Women Council set up again? Just to be clear.
So to be clear, the Women's Commission is different because it is set up by ordinance and it's an official board. This is a youth council. It is a program of the commission that was started. So it's only established by resolution because it's only a program, and that's why it allows them to have more flexibility in how they meet in open meetings and other things.
Right.
As far as the Women's Commission is set up, it actually authorizes the chairperson of the commission, does have a few additional members on that, and
Okay.
and I won't get into what I believe the rationale for that was, but it is set up like that, but it's based on the chairperson of the commission. So if you have a new chair, then that will change and go with the new chair of the commission.
Okay.
But it does allow that. the
Well, what I'm
chairperson
referring to is the chair of the committee. That's what I was.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
but how many more members? I was just trying to clarify how many. Do you
I
know?
think it's because it's 19, so it's each one for each commissioner.
Okay,
That's 15 plus 4 more. So
Okay.
19.
so you have additional 4.
Right.
Okay, all
I
right.
think
So
about
I just wanted to, since we're, looking at how those committees work and for me, if that's working for your committee as a Women's Council, which actually started after the Youth Council, right? Then I think that would be fair to have it so that we can,
I will present it. I'll say that it may.
I
be
mean, is
contrary
that
to
not
the-
fair?
It
I
may
mean,
be, it may be contrary to the rules because the rules does authorize the chairperson certain appointment powers. So we'll look at it, but again, I will present whatever you all
okay,
request.
great.
And allow you to vote it up or down.
all right. Yes, Commissioner Cullen,
Thank you.
Clement.
So we'll have 2 appointments or 1 appointment. And if you get extra applications in, what is your process when, let's say it's somebody from my district or someone from Commissioner Marecki's district? Do you go to that commissioner and say, hey, you didn't appoint anyone, this came into my office, and let them review it first? Or do you just
So
do that?
yes, so usually, in every case, I send the application to that commissioner. So that commissioner can vet that candidate. Last year, because we were on a tight timeline, and as I think I explained to you, it was like when we got all of the applications, we actually started the meeting that very next week. So it was difficult to ensure that all of the commissioners got the applications timely, but they all received them in the end. They did get them. And they told us whether they wanted to keep them on or not. So, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I like that you're gonna open it up to more months to apply. But I am assuming that because they do come to you, that they will all be distributed to us.
Right.
Even,
Well, I think we're
I mean,
this year,
our district.
they're gonna come to you and then you're gonna pick two and then give it to the chair.
So,
That's-
yeah.
Okay,
and
so they're gonna come directly to
Yeah.
us now?
And
You're
that
gonna-
has, that's
yeah.
how it has always been. It was always the case that I would send you the applications and I would say, hey, guys, the applications are open. Please let me know who your appointees or who you're recommending for appointee. So you would have the applications. Now, in some cases, if you didn't have an application and they
Right.
or they contacted us instead of you,
Right.
then that's how those scenarios
So that-
happen.
that's
But
because
usually,
The first year I had the applications.
right,
Then I don't remember seeing another application. So,
yeah,
okay, if they come to us, that's fine. But if you accidentally get them, then you
Yeah.
give them right to us.
I give them right to you.
To review. Okay.
Yes, and we'll have more time to do that
So-
now, yes. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I mentioned this
Oh.
only because it was an amendment that I proposed in the resolution. So since you're talking about it, to have consistency among applications, I believe I wrote it as the youth council email, which we
Right.
do have a Wayne County Youth Council, and it would go to the commission clerk. And then once they received it, depending on the district, they would then distribute it. And that way you can have one uniform county application. Otherwise, each commissioner would have to put their information in and not that we couldn't customize it to all 15 districts when you distribute them, but to have like one template form, and then they go to the clerk, and then the clerk makes sure that once they're received, they go to each that's how I wrote the resolution. If that's not how you want it, please let me know.
That's not what we've been doing, but that's
No.
how I would want it.
I actually think that's a very good idea because I know, excuse me, because Commissioner Baker McCormick is so busy. So if they all funnel to one place and then they funnel out, then you can, and you'll
Mhm.
now, and then
Well,
there'll be a way for you to know who's
Well,
there too.
right, well, that's not a problem. Yeah, that's not a problem
That's
because
not-
we've been sending them, when we would get them, we would send them out anyway, so, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's really a streamlined process.
Mhm.
It going to the clerk, nothing gets, falls through the cracks then. We get it all from that. Yeah, that's good with me.
All right. So next item, please.
Next item, item number 2, discussion on the youth council activities for the year.
Okay, so I just wanted to really get any ideas from the committee, if you had any additional feedback from the activities that we have, or if you have any other ideas of activities. And you don't have to come up with them right now, but just to let you know, we're always looking for additional activities. And in fact, hopefully you can join us on May 4th, we'll be out in Trenton for cleanup at the Detroit Wildlife Refuge. We're partnering with Smart Transportation for that event. So that's one thing that's coming up. And then we, of course, have the completion ceremony that's coming up June 4th, I believe. That's June 4th. But any
the-
other, at the Detroit Port Authority.
Oh.
It's at the
Yeah,
same place
Get
every
ahead of
year.
ourselves,
Mhm.
agenda.
I think it's at 6 o'clock too, but I'll send out all of that, the
Okay.
details on that.
It's good to have on a calendar.
Mhm.
And do you always hit like a Tiger game every year?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's what we were just organizing too as well. So the administration provides the suites. Yes.
Now that we've had a couple of years under our belt and some of the young people are returning, it might be a good, if they come back, it may be good to maybe ask them, what did you enjoy? What would you like to do again?
Mhm.
And or what new would you like to ask? 'Cause I know early on, of course, you're planning it because it's new, but
Mhm.
now that we've had a few people that is the second year, third year, now that they maybe can be able to give some input as to what they would like to, we can put some core things in, like the Lansing is like a
Right.
core thing.
And
Tiger's a
usually
core
we do.
thing.
We,
Yeah.
we ask them,
Get some input.
especially like social activities, if
Mm.
they wanted to do any social events, you know,
Mhm. Or go
those
to a
type of
museum that they've never been to,
Right.
the Detroit Historical or the African American, whatever it may be, but to be able to get some input from them during
Yeah.
those first couple of meetings that they have.
Okay.
Feedback.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Thank you. No, I think you have a very robust calendar for them, and I think it's always good either to take a survey or an exit interview saying, you know, what was helpful. I mean, even, you know, invite somebody to come with you to, you know, see what this is all about, you know, to learn about different things. So, but I think that learning about the legislative process and government is very important. And so last year I did attend the completion ceremony because I wanted to know what it was all about, and it was very well done and very nice. The only one thing that I wanted to add about like what I heard from my person that was on the commission this year was the first day, and maybe this is something to think about, like the nominating of officers or there wasn't really like a meet and greet, so everybody could kind of get to know everybody, and they were just they nominated people and she was very lost in that first meeting. So maybe some kind of a initial meeting so that they could kind of get to know each other. And maybe it's like, you know, you're the president. I know these people, we had to vote on them. So that was fine.
And we got that same feedback from other members as well. So that was something we said, okay, maybe the first meeting should be in person. But what we usually do is we send them information about each candidate. They get it before the first meeting because it's only so many meetings that we have. We're trying to get everything done in a short window. And so we have them send in their bios, why they want to be that, you know, the chair or the vice chair or secretary. And then at that very first meeting, hey, okay, you got to be prepared to do a 2-minute speech presentation about why you're the best candidate.
Mm.
But I think you probably are right. It might need to be an in-person meeting or something more personable where they can actually see and touch. So I agree with that. Yeah. Mhm.
The Zoom in person, I'm not sure what
Mhm.
matters. I think it's just was, you know, when they are first new, they don't quite know what to expect. And she, you know, not anything bad about it, but she was just kind of like, wow, we're already nominating officers. But
Okay.
maybe because maybe she joined late, I'm not exactly sure, but
Mhm.
just a suggestion. Thank
Okay,
you.
Great. Any other activities or?
No, I'll think about it though.
Okay, great. And then next item, please.
Item 3, discussion on the gym completion ceremony.
So that's going to be the 4th, as I just stated, but we are looking for speakers. So we usually have a guest speaker to speak to the youth. If you have anyone in mind, please let us know.
That's a Tuesday?
That it's the 4th.
That's a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. At 6 p.m., I believe, 6 to 8.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. Any questions about that? Is that the Port Authority?
6 to 8.
Mhm.
That's well, it should be over by then. That's Cass Tech's graduation at Shane Park,
Oh.
and that's at 2.
Oh, okay.
They
Okay.
should be done 2, 3, 4,
Mhm.
5. They should be done by 5.
Okay.
Mm.
All right, next item.
Item number 4, discussion on summer internship opportunities for youth.
So this year we were sending out to employers. In particular, we were asking youth as well what they would be interested in as far as career-wise to try to give them a fit to that internship, to fit, make sure we give them a match. So if you have any relationships with, especially if it's with your individual appointee in your community, that they can do their internship, that would be great. So, and even if it's not a fit, but you pull to get, had some pull at Livonia City Hall and they worked over at the City Hall, that would be great. So again, yep.
So would you want to you're talking about in the summer, right?
In the summer, yes.
So it probably would be helpful if you put out a list of what their interests were.
Right. Okay.
I guess to each commissioner with their specific person that they appointed, or, I mean, maybe people would have other opportunities for ones that it didn't fit in their district, but they wanted them to come in, whatever. But it'd be nice to see what their interests are, period.
All right. Yep. So we're going to be working on that. So if you have, though, any opportunities that you think they might be interested, it doesn't have to be something that they're interested in. It could be something that you or someone you have a relationship with and they are looking for summer employment. So.
They want to work on campaigns.
Look at Felicia.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
No, you
Yeah.
can't say that.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah.
something to maybe explore for next summer is
Uh-huh.
the Detroit GDYT,
So,
Roll Detroit.
yeah,
Youth, whatever.
you,
it's called.
yeah, they're already, we gave them that information.
You did? Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
But
Okay,
that's
very
for
good.
Detroit.
Right, I know,
Only
but yeah,
Detroit
yeah,
students.
right.
So most of them receive that. Yep.
Okay,
you
good.
did. Yep. So
Good.
I have another question
Mhm.
too. Are they expecting like a paid internship or just a volunteer internship?
see, they're saying yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that opens up like another can of worms,
It
having a
does.
relationship between an entity, internship, paid. That's a whole
Yeah.
more complicated.
Yeah.
thing.
We're really looking for paid positions for them.
But I mean,
Yeah.
are we in the position at the county to set up? I mean, do you have to have some kind of not like an IGA between the two? I mean, there has to be, I think it gets a little more complicated when it's paid. I might be wrong, but I just know what the high school internships have to go through to get their kids into internships. It's pretty complicated. Not
Okay.
complicated, but we're not set up for it, I don't think.
Okay, well,
know.
last year it was a simple transition for most. Yeah, we did it and it wasn't a problem. We got parental
Yeah.
consent forms and that was that. I don't know.
Are you looking more for just referrals? Like, hey, I know of this internship at Canton Township. Apply to it?
I think that would work too, because
Okay.
if you had some influence with them applying to a position and you could recommend them for it, I think that would suffice as well,
Yeah.
right?
I think Felicia wants to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
Perhaps there should be some continued discussion so I can fully understand to address potential concerns, because other than the person who really worked here, I wasn't really aware.
Mhm.
And I think that depending on what it is versus a referral versus an actual relationship, maybe. So if we can just talk about it so I can
Okay,
understand it,
sure.
I'm sure we could address whatever it is.
Okay.
All
right.
Sometimes, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
each of us over the course of our career have probably had internships in our office. And I've had some and they've been paid. So, I mean, they could work for the commissioner, they can vote for the commission. I know the county executive had some in different, like MNB and different. So if we're just, if the entity is already doing internships, us referring our people to them to be hired shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, and I think it works
Yeah,
for the commissioner.
And to that point, I was just thinking of outside, not here, because I've had interns
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But like the city of Livonia, let's use that as an example. I just didn't know how that all worked out.
Well, I know we had one youth last year that worked for the city of Northfield.
Okay,
So, and it wasn't a problem, that was, okay with his parent and,
So a
Yeah.
lot of government agencies or entities have internships
Right.
for kids,
Mhm.
so.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's really what I'm trying to open up those governmental
Okay.
so that they can keep on that, kind of on that track. Yeah, so,
Okay.
all right, next item.
Item E, such of the matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
All right, is there any other? Oh. All right, next
Item F,
item.
public comments.
Yep, you could come up right here. Come sit right here. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're good.
Pull the mic
Pull the
close
mic
and then
closer.
push that button till the green light comes on. Yep. Oh, you turned it off. Hit it again.
Just lightly. Yep, that's it. Just let it up.
Okay,
Okay. I wrote it up. My name is Kelly Cox, KELLICOX. So I just want to talk about like what I heard earlier. As far as the application process, of course, I've done it before. I do think the essay is necessary. It can be maybe shortened, but for example, I just used my the same essay I wrote for my Illich internship, which I got. So I had an hour to submit it, but I was still able to use the same ideals that I learned or I written down beforehand for something else. Whether it be like shortened to maybe 500 words rather than 2,000 would be maybe helpful, but it does give some significance to the board itself. Because if you go through a process where you're just putting your name, your extracurriculars, it makes it seem very easy. And what we do isn't easy. So it gives some value and a preview of how much effort a student's willing to put in. And then about the like appointing thing, I do think it doesn't come to like a representation of you all, it comes to representation of our voices. Because, for example, Commissioner Dobb is my commissioner, but I've never like met you and communicated with you. So you can't like really measure my participation in the program as far as like appointing. You may be able to read something on paper, but you don't like really know me. So it's really hard to say that this student has this value and somebody not be able to have that same voice just because of where you live. I've only lived in your district for 2 years, rather I've lived in Commissioner Baker's for the rest of my life, which is 14 years. So it may be like, I would use the word like unfair just because of where you live, that you can't like serve on a committee like this. So I think it would be more fair the way it is, or rather like a Commissioner McCormick was saying, have the power to appoint as she sees fit, as she's the one who has to work with us on a daily, weekly basis. And as far as internships, I have a paid internship now, but if someone like, oh, I could work with Kim Worthy right now, I'll probably take that one. So it depends on like the significance of the internship rather than and like the quality of the work rather than just what the internship pays, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you. And I agree with you that the essay is important because it also weed folks out that aren't serious about the program. If you just let someone get in very easily, they're not going to take it seriously. And I don't want to waste my time with someone that's not serious. So thank you for saying that. Thank you. Mhm.
Just hit it once, yeah.
Okay. Is it name?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Nidhi Kumar, NIDHI, KUMAR. So I just wanted to make a comment, especially on the application essay. Just wanted to bring to light, that we do write a resolution this year specifically, as me and the rest of the executive board have kind of noticed. People tend to drop out. Like, we have like steady attendance at the beginning of our meetings, and then people kind of just fade away. So the essay is still kind of important regardless, because it like, you need to write a resolution to have your name on the resolution. If we just have council members who can talk but not translate that into direct action, i.e. like technically like writing on the paper, there's no point in having such a council member. I mean, like, the ideas are great, but you need to like help the rest of the team work together, because overall this is like a thing. Like, it's a group effort. In addition to that, on the appointments, I have to agree with just keeping the way it is, because honestly, the youth council, all in all, is like a great opportunity, and we're just trying to get youth like a starting point to just get their voice out there. It seems a sort of unfair, as the previous speaker mentioned, that you have to be divided by location. It does make sense that commissioners get to choose who they want to appoint based on like who they see like fit and qualified, like, or whatever, because we do want quality members. But to restrict the number is something that we should probably not do. Because personally, from my like experience, we do need more voices in general. And regardless of where that youth comes from, youth move around a lot. I've moved around a lot in the past several years. I just feel like it's unfair for like representatives to be kind of just divided on based on who their commissioner is. Last point, on the internships, the student who had the internship with the mayor of Northville, that's my older brother, actually. The process was relatively simple for a paid internship. I just like to vouch for that. My parents had no problem with that. It was a relatively smooth process, so there should be no problem with having those internships there. Thank you.
Thank you. And to your point about the essay, which I forgot to mention, that the resolution is formed from their essay. So they write about issues that are important to them in the community. And from those essays, we look at which one of those were the top, and they vote on those issues. That's how they come up with the resolution that they write about. So that's why it is key to what makes the program work. So thank you for that. You reminded me of that.
The green light on? Hit it again. Hit it till the green light comes on. There you
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Hi, my name is Olivia Sherwood. And I just want to touch on the essay, because I think you should have the essay. And the application itself was not hard. It was the fact that if getting rid of that essay or stuff like that would mean, if you're not willing to put in the work to even try, what makes it so if you get into the program, are you still willing to put in work for it? Like, if you're not willing to write a simple essay to try to get into a program you want, why would we want you like a part of the group if you're not willing to put in some of the work? And then I just want to touch on appointing. I had a few questions about it, mainly how a commissioner would like even think about coming about and finding people. Like, such as like, are they getting in touch with the schools? Are they contacting them? Are they getting it from personal voice? Are they contacting people being like, hey, I'm looking for this or this? And are those people that are gonna go out and find people? But will those people be like willing enough and or deserving?
Thank you. Thank you. And I will say that it's up to the commissioner as to how hard they work to get an appointee. They can work to do, reach out to the schools, like you said, or they can choose not to, and then they don't have an appointee. So that's why I wanted to leave that process open, so that any commissioner could just, if they had a student that was interested, could appoint. Yep. So thank you for those. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, hello, my name is Kiera Johnson, and I just wanted to touch on the application process. You got, the commissioners get the applications. I just wanted to know what's your process of, if 20 students apply, how do you condense it down to 2 people?
Okay, so usually in this process, just so you know how we do public comments, we don't really go back and forth.
So this is a learning
I-
opportunity. I'm glad you
even-
said that.
even
But
though
for
I've
public
been
comment, you
making-
don't, it's not a Q&A.
Yeah,
Public
but
comment is
I'll
just that.
talk to you about it afterwards. Yeah, but
We want to
yeah.
model good behavior.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Yeah, I can make comments after you say something, but it's not a. Any other? No, okay.
Robert.
Come on up, yeah.
Get dark.
Thank you, Madam the Chair. Good afternoon. To our formal introduction for myself. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Robert Plowski. I am the legislative aide for the Wayne County Commission Youth Council, and I wanted to formally introduce myself here in front of the committee, commission council, and members of the commission. One of my roles as the legislative aide is to be in charge of day-to-day operations with our meetings, sending emails, reaching out to guest speakers, making sure our students have the resources that we need. I do want to take note that I am taking a lot of consideration of our members here today on their points and questions that they've had for this committee, and I will be taking note of those and bringing them back to our staff as well to take that consideration. But I also would like to thank the commission and the staff for the opportunity to come back as an original youth council member, to be able to go forth and continue the work that I was doing prior, reaching out to students, giving them the opportunity to get involved in government. As a youngster myself, it started way on in middle school. I know the challenge of having outreach, and when I saw the offer for our commissioner doing the Wayne County Commission Youth Council, I fell in love with it. Bless you. I fell in love with it from the start. So my goal and my mission is to be able to give opportunities to all students here in Wayne County, working with our chair, Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick, but also working with our students and having that transparency level. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to talk to Madam Chair or myself, and I'm happy to assist at any point in time. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you. And Robert's been doing an excellent job as the commission legislative aide for the youth council. All right, I think that was anyone on, I guess wouldn't be on Zoom, right?
There
For
is no
public
one.
comments, okay.
There's no hands. in Zoom.
All right, next item.
Item G, adjournment.
So, all right, we are adjourned. Thank you.